think the time has come to start this final plenary session of today. And my responsibility is to introduce a fellow countryman as the chairman. That's Misha Glenny. Misha Glenny is a writer, an author, has been for 20 years, a very distinguished broadcaster, built up a tremendous reputation as an authority on the Balkans, has published a number of books which have become landmark books on the subject, is currently working on a book on cybercrime and cybersecurity. He also writes in the New Yorker and the New York Times. Misha, it's wonderful having you here, having you with us. We look forward to your opening statement and then to the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lord Griffiths. Well, I don't have a great deal to say because our panel are much more interesting on the subject at hand than I could ever be. And so I just thought I would explain to you what we're going to do. We're going to have short introductory statements from our four guests this evening. And then I will pose one or two questions which I hope will tickle and stimulate the debate amongst them. And then once we're warmed up in that spirit, I shall then be turning to you, the audience, to come up with some fascinating and daring questions. The one thing I would say about this session, and perhaps all sessions, is they are taking place in some extremely testing political and economic times, definitely here in Europe, if not in other parts of the world. And I remain extremely curious as to what our guests feel about how entrepreneurship can succeed and assist in this type of atmosphere when so many people are very nervous about the way things might be going. So I'm going to, without further ado, introduce our panel one by one. After I introduce them, they will speak for 2 to 3 minutes, setting out their stall, as it were, on the subject of the hour, which is whether a family business or listed company, the pride and prejudice of entrepreneurship. And I would like to start with Sanjeev Goenka, who is the Vice Chair of RPG Enterprises, which is involved in the power industry, energy sector, mining, retail, and entertainment, a very diverse company with an extremely powerful and long-standing reputation in India. If I'm correct, Sanjeev, you're currently the president of the All India Management Association, which is a rotating position. And he's also, which I was rather fascinated by, the Honorary Consul of Canada in Kolkata. So, Sanjeev, your thoughts, 2 to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Misha, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to begin with a disagreement. And my disagreement is with the topic of the evening itself. It presumes, it actually insinuates that a family-owned business cannot or should not be listed. And to my mind, I do not believe these are mutually exclusive. I own and operate companies in India which are listed. Many of my colleagues on the table have the same situation. So fundamentally, there might be a stage where, to begin with, a concept, an idea, is not tested and therefore it's not listed. But once a product or a company becomes successful, it gets listed. And So to my mind, it's not a distinction between being family-owned wholly or partly. The chairman has asked me to also speak on the problems or the situations facing second and third generation entrepreneurs. And this is something that I must confess I'm acutely aware of. You begin with a huge expectation around you. People expect you to start where the previous generation left off. They've had a 30-year run or a 40-year run, and you really have had no experience or no run as yet. The legacy of the past, the legacy of the name, actually weighs you down. And it's difficult sometimes to introduce changes, introduce new products, and sometimes even change people. In India particularly, people don't change jobs that often. And to induct fresh talent, to induct fresh thought is a challenge. Overall, all I can say is that the ideal combination is a family-owned, family-run business which is listed publicly, so that there is control, there is accountability, and there is a sense of responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sanjeev. And I now turn to the one member of our panel, Dr. Jürgen Hambrecht, who is not involved in a family